All right, good evening, nerds around the world. Welcome to episode 150 of the Nerds Unite as One podcast. I'm your host, Paul English, and we have a fantastic show for you, as always. Continuing our theme from last week's show, this week we're going to be counting down the top 5 retro video games that deserve a proper remaster and or reboot. And joining me for this is a terrific panel of regulars that you know and love by now. It is Colton Hund, Jack Fern, and Mike Hewlett. What's going on, folks?
Hey, everyone. How's it going?
Howdy.
Howdy, great to be here.
All right, let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into it. Colton, I'm coming to you first. What is just like last time, no particular order for this, although I simply request that you save the game you want remastered the most for last. That's all.
I did mine in order.
Fair enough. There's no more. But Colton, you're up. What's the first game that you want to see remastered?
Okay, so this, compared to the other games, this is a bit mundane, but it is the Star Wars Phantom Menace video game that came out way back in the day for the PlayStation 1, I think, and for the PC.
Really?
And while the game, it's playable. I mean, I was 8 years old, and I beat it back then. It was still really frustrating, from things like level design to stuff like that. So I feel like a remaster could fix some of the ridiculousness of it. Like the maze-like levels could get really tedious because I felt like they were just trying to make them as difficult as possible rather than legitimately challenging from time to time. But I also feel like the graphics were sort of holding the game back from time to time, like during certain boss fights, like in the third to last boss fight in the game, when you're trying to, because you're playing as Captain Panaka and you're fighting somebody with like a lightsaber like weapon, the hit detection was very off when you were trying to shoot at him and what have you. So I think a graphical overhaul could improve on that, make it actually more not broken, so to speak. So yeah, first one on my list is the Phantom Menace.
Okay, Jack, what's the first one on your list?
The first one on my list is Batman Begins, the video game.
Okay.
For PS2. And this was, for a time, one of the best Batman games until Arkham Asylum knocked everything on its head and remade what a Batman game is. But this was a pretty good game, and I think a remaster could update the graphics and maybe the combat a little bit, and it would be really fun just to play it again.
Okay. Mike, what's the first game on your list?
First game on my list is one I'm sure I've mentioned on this show before. Endless Ocean's Blue World.
You might have mentioned it once or twice.
Yeah. It's my favorite Wii game. What can I say? The problem is, though, it was designed for the Wii, which means you had to have the Wii Motion controllers, and it was all like that. So, I mean, you can't really update it for a new game console unless you completely revamp the controls, which I'd be fine with. I mean, the controls were not what attracted me to this game anyway. It was just fun just being able to explore the ocean, check out different new fish, try and find new treasures buried in the ground, and just swim alongside whales and sharks and what have you. It was very, very fun. It was peaceful. There's not a lot of, high energy moments, but it was fun just being able to explore this. There's one part where you actually dive down into this well and explore this gigantic underwater castle. And it was just, beautiful imagery. The music was fantastic. And it clicked for me just the right way. So I would love to see this one done again for any console, really.
I don't know if I'd call that a retro game, considering how just how recently it came out, but okay. So the first one on my list, again, it's kind of in the same boat as that, actually, that it's not necessarily a retro game, but I think it's old enough that it fits, and frankly, I freaking love this game, and that is The Simpsons Hit and Run. This game, I can't tell you what a blast it was playing this game, just being able to cruise around the different areas of Springfield, playing as the Simpsons characters, doing quests, trying to solve this great mystery of this new addictive Buzz Cola and all the shenanigans you get with the Simpsons. I mean, you get the writers involved, you get the voice actors doing. I mean, it was just so much fun. The driving element was a blast, and just seeing, bring in new graphics, new game engine, but keep the dialogue, keep the character. Oh my gosh, this would be a perfect remaster, especially with new VR controllers. I think the thrill of being able to drive around more, I think that would add a whole lot of fun to it. So yeah, definitely Simpsons Hit and Run. I want to see this game get remastered. Okay, Colton, what's the next one on your list?
The next one on my list is for the PlayStation 2, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Now, this was a very fun and enjoyable game, except for one thing that I think a remaster would definitely fix, and that is the loading times. Holy crap, did the loading times for that game suck. It's like every time you had to go outside or go into a new building or whatever, the game had to stop and load. And considering how some of the levels were like stealth-based, and I was terrible at stealth, I had to keep running away and coming back into the next room to try the stealth part portion again, and that gets, it's like, hold on, we have to load. I'm like, enough with the loading times. Like, seriously. But in addition to that, there was also the Quidditch matches. Sometimes the game could get a little, they were also pretty slow, so to speak. Like, when we saw how better Quidditch matches would get as we got more and more Harry Potter games, I think a remaster would also, fix those, make them cooler. And just in general, it would also be cool to see how they could envision that version of Hogwarts in an updated setting with updated graphics and everything. So yeah, number 2 on my list. The second one I choose, this number on my list is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Fuck loading times.
All right, Jack, what's the next one on your list?
The next one on my list would be perfect for a reboot. Crash Bandicoot.
They already did that.
No, they did a remaster.
Okay, well, you can do both, actually. I mean, kind of one or the other. It sort of counts either way.
Yeah, I know, but they haven't done a reboot. They haven't made any new games in the series in quite a while. And I loved this game growing up, and I think they should go back to, the originals and make some new games. And I think that might actually happen with the success of the remasters that they did, and with the remaster of Crash Team Racing coming out. So I really hope we get a new Crash game, because I want a new Crash game to play.
Okay, all right. Mike, what's the next one on your list?
Yeah, the next one on my list is actually it's a 2-game series from PlayStation 1, Lunar Silver Star Story and Lunar 2 Eternal Blue.
Okay.
These are 2 of my favorite RPGs that came out for the PlayStation 1, right next to Final Fantasy VII, which is getting an HD remake, so I can't include that one. But I mean, it was basically set in this fictional world called Lunar, and in the first game, you play this kid that idolizes this old warrior this warrior of legend that used to protect the goddess that protected the world, and through happenstance he has to go on this quest and start collecting the armor of that warrior, and he meets up with some of the associates of the warrior from previous times, and some of them help him, some of them not so much. But just the story of both of them actually is just incredible. The music is what really makes it, because actually for the English versions of them, they actually redubbed all the voices, and they redubbed the song into English. And I thought they were really well done. So I would love to see maybe combine them into one, but if you want to just do 2, I'd still buy them both. Lunar Silver Star Story and Eternal Blue.
Okay. We're not all right. Next one on my list, and this isn't really just one game, rather a series of games, but it's a series of games that I feel deserve to get a reintroduction into this new age, and that is the Schoolhouse Rock PC games. I am an unapologetic Schoolhouse Rock fanboy, and in the mid 90s, I remember playing the PC versions of these games. There was Math Rock, there was America Rock, there was Science Exploration Station. I loved these games, being able to trot around different areas, play games based on the classic Schoolhouse Rock theme song. It was so much fun. And I learned a lot from playing those games too, and not just listening, and of course listening to songs, which of course they were all available. And I want these games brought back for a new generation of kids to make learning fun, because that's when you learn best, when you don't realize you're learning and when you're having fun doing it. I would still play the hell out of these games right now, and if I ever have kids, I'd want them to play these games. These are games that I wouldn't. They want to sit for 12 hours and play this game. I don't care. Have at it. So yes, the Schoolhouse Rock PC game, Grammar Rock, Exploration Station, Math Rock, America Rock. Bring them back. Bring Schoolhouse Rock back. Make learning fun again. All right, Colton, what's the next one on your list?
All right, we're going back to the ancient time of the 1990s, to the days of the Sega Saturn. My next game is Blazing Heroes. If any of you guys have heard of this game, I will be shocked. You've heard of it, Mike?
No, not only heard of it, I played the hell out of that game. That was fun.
Damn, I'm surprised.
Oh yeah, hell, I might even have it around here somewhere. Probably not here, but out there.
Well, Blazing Heroes. This was a game that I was terrible at because it had one of the most bizarre combat systems ever, which I think that a remaster could help, fine tune a little, because it was basically you had to walk up to the end. All the enemies were on the map. You had to walk up to them, then select attack, and then you're in this short attack sequence, and then you would get attacked back. It was kind of like an RPG before they really hit up. It was kind of like RPGs, but not quite up to par with like something like Final Fantasy or whatever. But I think that, like I said, remastering it will fix those issues, I think. And they could also give it some. I think it was a fantasy game, so I think seeing it updated today with they would be able to have proper cutscenes and everything and cinematics. It will look pretty cool to watch. I would imagine. I would definitely play that because I really did want to finish that game. I just was too terrible at it to do so because of the weird combat scenarios and everything. But yeah, Blazing Heroes. That's the next one on my list.
Okay, Jack, what's the next one on your list?
The next one on my list is one of my favorite games during my early teens years, and that is Ultimate Spider-Man.
No, I remember that game. Pretty cool.
It was a great game, which actually had a great story, and I think they could remaster it. One of the really things that was interesting about the game was that the whole thing was shell-shaded like a comic book. So I think they could, and the technology for that has really improved. So I think they can improve that a little and just maybe adjust the combat a little, and it would be fun to play again with updated graphics.
Okay. Mike, what's the next one on your list?
My next one is a little bit of a cheat because it did get an HD remake, but not since 2011. So it's kind of 8 years out of date at this point. Prince of Persia: Sands of Time trilogy. Easily the best Prince of Persia games ever created. Being able to manipulate time, and go backwards and forwards, and say if you miss a jump, you can actually rewind it and try it again, as long as you had enough, sands of time available to you. And then the second story continued that, where you have this huge, gigantic beast hunting you down because you changed fate and you altered time, and fate doesn't really like being altered. So then you have this giant beast chasing after you. And then the last one, you go back home, but you find that now you kind of your personality is split between a good side and the evil side. And so you've got to try and take back your kingdom while still deciding which side you want to fight most with. So yeah, like I said, it's not since PS3 have we gotten versions of this ones, and I can't really play this on my PS4, which sucks because I really want to play these games again, and I have no idea where my PS3 is. So yeah, my next pick is Prince of Persia trilogy: Sands of Time.
Didn't they make a reboot of that game?
You just said that.
They made another Prince of Persia game, but it had nothing to do with these guys.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, I mean, hearing that the PS5 could have the capability of playing every PlayStation era game, so yeah, we'll see about that. All right. Anyway, next one on my list. It's no secret that Bethesda Game Studios has taken a huge publicity hit from the disaster that is Fallout 76. It has gotten hammered and destroyed by pretty much everybody, other than like the unapologetic diehard Bethesda fanboy. But everyone else with half a brain know this game is shit. Obviously, this company needs to do something to bring back the fan base, or at least get a pardon for this crime. And I have just the solution. Number 3 on my list is Fallout 1, the one that started it all. I think if Bethesda were to go and give this game a full-fledged, from the ground up rebuild, brand new game engine, state-of-the-art graphics, new combat mechanics, bring California to life, the post-war California environment. It'll bring life in a way we've never seen before. Keep the storyline intact, keep the voice dialogue, but make everything else brand new. If nothing else, I think that would bring a lot of the fans back. I think they would give a little bit of breathing room. So, Todd, if you're listening, Fallout 1 reboot from the ground up. I know it'll be expensive. Shut the fuck up. You need this. So fucking do it. Because I've been hearing so many people who are excited for Elder Scrolls 6 are now scared to death about it. You need to bring the fans back. You fucked up with 76. Own up to it and do something right. All right. Colton, what's the next one on your list?
So, back in 2005, a little game called Indigo Prophecy was released. Indigo Prophecy was a great game. But there was one minor issue with it, is that because they were running out of budget and whatnot, they had to significantly cut down the concept of the game. And so, when we get to the final third of the game, our hero suddenly gets these really weird powers that he was slowly developing, but now it's like, okay, he's got all the powers now. So I feel like a remaster, they can, obviously, since the game was popular, they'll probably get all the budget they want, and they'll be able to reincorporate all that lost content to give us what could have been, I think. I mean, I don't know quite what they were planning. It was never released, but I would like to see what it was, because there was this really weird part where at first the main character is in love with this one woman, but then she dies, and then he meets the main player character, and then he meets the main female character, and then less than maybe a few minutes later, they're suddenly in love. Less than a few cutscenes later, they're in love and having sex. I'm like, wait, when the hell did that happen? Now I realize, okay, there was a lot of content cut. Now it suddenly makes sense. But not just that, I feel like a graphical update will make this game look absolutely gorgeous. It already looked like it was a movie back in 2005, so making with graphical updates these days, it could look even more impressive. And I would love love to play it again just to see what it would look like with today's graphics. So, and the next one on my list is Indigo Prophecy.
Okay, Jack, what's the next one on your list?
The next one on my list is another Spider-Man game. Spider-Man 2, Enter Electro.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. The PlayStation 1 game?
Yeah, it was PS1. And this is a great game with Spider-Man where the main villain was Electro, trying to get more powerful. There was a lot of cool boss fights, and I think a remaster could just update the graphics and the gameplay and give us a chance to play it again. I'd like to see it.
Okay, all right. Mike, what's the next one on your list?
Next one on my list is another series, because the story literally starts from one game and goes through the next bunch of games, and you can't really take any one out of them. But it is the Legacy of Kain series. This one right here is Soul Reaver. If you've never heard of them, I'm not surprised. They were this one was made in 1999 for the PC. I think they also came up with a PS1 version of it. But it starts with Legacy of Kain, where you play this guy named Kain who gets killed and resurrected as a vampire, and then he's forced to go through and kill all these guys that were. Trust me, it is so hard to describe the mythology behind this game, because there are pillars involved, and they're corrupting the pillars, and it's really weird. But at the end of that game, Kane is given this choice to either sacrifice himself and restore the world, or live on as a vampire and corrupt the world. This one takes place after he's corrupted the world. In this one, you play one of Kane's lieutenants, who has the audacity to gain a vampiric power before Kane. And so Kane kind of kills him, but he gets resurrected as this ghoulish reaver. But then there's like this thing in the mythology where time travel is involved, and maybe you have to kill Kane, but maybe you can't kill Kane, or maybe you don't want to kill Kane. There are so many different storylines going on in this, but they all kind of like merge in between the different games. So that's why you can't make just one game. You have to start with Legacy of Kane, go through Soul Reaver, and just keep going, because they made a Soul Reaver 2 and a Soul Reaver Redemption, I think, was the last one. Very fun games. I'd love to be able to just kind of streamline them. Maybe make 1 or 2 games in the whole thing. But definitely graphical enhancements and control enhancements as well. But very, very fun games. But the next one on my list, the Legacy of Kane game series.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of very complicated game line. It's definitely streamlined it if it remaster. Okay. Couple things I need to do before I unveil my next one. First one is this actually ties into my honorable mention from last week's show that I didn't say, but so I'll reveal it in a moment. And the second thing is I need to apologize in advance to Mike, because this choice is going to make him feel very old, as he's probably the only person who remembers this game or even this genre. But here we go. Back in the late 80s, with Nintendo basically redefining the home game market, VHS companies decided to try and cash in on that craze, resulting in a short-lived genre called VHS games, which is exactly what it sounds like: video games on VHS tapes, on very old VHS tapes.
How does that even work?
Trust me, it's about as asinine as you think it is.
Yeah, a lot of the games did not ban it, and even for me, it was a little before my time. However, thanks to my Uncle John, I do have a memory of playing one of these games at my grandmother's house when I was very, very young, and it is the next one on my list, and that is Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. I remember having that little jet engine light gun, playing these VHS. I have no clue what the fuck it was, but I just remembered loving it. And as if that wasn't enough, there was actually a Saturday morning kid show that tied into those games. Ran for one season, I think like 87 or 88 for 22 episodes. But they're all available on YouTube. And in the end credit, the credits are actually interactive. You can fly your little jet light gun around there and shoot targets at it.
Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future.
Yes. It was a post-apocalyptic kid show following a group of human soldiers fighting back against Lord Dredd and his army of robots, trying to finish off humanity. It was about as crazy as most 80s shows, but there was a certain charm to it, and there was also a certain edge to it for a kid show. It didn't, like I said, it only ran one season, 22 episodes, but they're all available on YouTube. Go ahead and look it up. And you can even look up the VHS tapes. They're available to view. You can't interact with them, but they're available to view. And getting back to the game, I think you take a look at the game tapes on YouTube when you can, because the animations are brilliant, and they actually bring in the actors from the television show at the beginning and the end of each VHS tape. And I think a full remaster with PlayStation VR capabilities, giving you the feeling of flying a jet and shooting down robots and dodging explosions, that would just be a blast to have. So, yeah, number 2 on my list is the Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future VHS game. Bring it back to PlayStation 4, please.
Oh, this I gotta see.
Look it up. Look it up when we're done, okay? Like I said, all 22 episodes are available on YouTube. You can find them. Okay, here we go, guys. This is it. This is the one we want the most. Colton, what is yours?
All right, so as we know, nothing sucks more than when a video game gets rushed out of development and is clearly not finished. I was nearly going to pick Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 for that very reason, but then I stopped and realized there was another game from my childhood that was also rushed to even worse results, and that was Spyro Enter the Dragonfly for the PlayStation 2. There is a lot of content that was cut from this game, and you can tell just by playing it that it was like an obvious beta test or whatever. So I want them to be able to, I want the developers to go back and be able to make the game that they wanted to make. They did not deserve to get screwed over that way, because some of the content I've heard that got cut, it sounded really awesome, actually. There was apparently going to be 120 dragonflies, over 25 levels compared to the 8 I think we got. And most importantly, the loading times are going to be short. But as it turns out, the loading times are so bad in this game that loading screens actually had loading screens. I am not kidding.
Wow.
So it sounds about as it sounds like it shouldn't be possible, but they somehow found a way to do it. So they really need to get the I really want to wish the developers could go back and get their redemption, because the later Spyro the Dragon games we got afterwards all looked pretty cool. So I feel like if they had a chance to have time and proper graphics and everything, they could have made a really action-packed, breathtaking video game, and I would love to see the game that could have been.
Did they do that with that Spyro remaster trilogy that recently came out?
I think they only did the first 3 games.
They did. I own it.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if Enter the Dragonfly was part of that. Okay. All right, Jack, what is the one you want the most?
Superman 64.
That almost made my
list. Joke.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I mean, hey, it deserves to get they deserve to actually make a good game out of it after how it turned out last time.
No,
I mean, to be fair, it deserves to make a game out of it, because that wasn't a game.
that was not a game. Okay.
That was a torture chamber.
No, my real game is Spider-Man PS1.
Oh, yeah.
Which was like my favorite game as a kid. Me and my cousin would play this game like all the time, and he would help me beat the final boss because it was hard. Monster Rock, throwbacks. This was a great game, and I think they can improve the graphics and maybe the sound quality a bit, and some of the combat, and it would be fun just to play this game again. Because you don't really need to change the story; you need to update everything else. I think it'd be a lot of fun to play.
Okay. Mike, what is the one you want remastered the most?
First, a quick honorable mention for all the Quest series from Sierra Online. Yeah, Space Quest, King's Quest, Quest for Glory, and Police Quest. All of them were so much fun, and the creators have moved on to do other things, and you can still get the games on like Steam and GOG, but they deserve like an upgrade. But no, my number one, I know I mentioned this game on the series before. Yeah, Thief and Thief 2. Again, the story on these is fantastic. You just play this thief that he gets in the first one. He gets hired by this guy who's promising him, if he takes this job, he'll never have to work again. And then it turns out you have to infiltrate a zombie-filled city to get this ancient artifact that then the guy who was hiring you turns out to be this giant demon lord who rips out your eye and plans on using the artifact with your eye to destroy most of humanity.
Wow, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, and then in the second one, the second one kind of takes place like a short while later, where kind of the power vacuum left by the defeating of the demon lord. Now this religious cult is like kind of rising up, and they're using robots. And he's the leader of this has got another like mad scheme to destroy most of the city. And once again, your thief character gets tied up into the schemes, and he has to try and stop things. Honestly, the story is fantastic. The gameplay is fantastic. You've got this little gem at the bottom of the screen, and the brighter the gem is, the more visible you are. So you want to try and keep to the shadows. If you get into a sword fight with one of the guards, you're probably going to die because they have a lot more health than you do, and they can call their friends. So you want to try to avoid combat, sneak up behind them, blackjack them. The thing that would really make these games a lot better, though, graphical enhancements, probably some AI enhancements for the guards, because you kill one, anyone else finds the body, they go hunting for you. If they can't find you for after 5 minutes, like, whatever, it must have been the wind. There was a dead body. So it's like, yeah, maybe a little bit of enhancement to the AI makes you kind of have to act on your feet a little bit quicker. But the stories and the mythology behind the games are fantastic. They are still my favorite games. If I can find a way to get them to work on my newer system, I will absolutely play them again. So yeah, Thief and Thief 2.
Okay, all right. So the one I want the most, and this really should come as no surprise to anyone here, because I'm sure I brought this up several times already, and that is Pokemon Yellow. Now, I know technically that's already done with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, and I've seen a few Let's Plays of it, and it looks great. Don't get me wrong. It looks beautiful. The gameplay is pretty the same. But one thing I noticed, and this confused the hell out of me, they took out wild Pokemon battles. Now you can't capture wild Pokemon by whittling down their HP. Now you have to, do a Safari Zone type of thing where you have to bait them. You have to distract them to capture them. What the fuck was Nintendo thinking? That makes no sense at all. I'm like, why would you take out such an essential element of these Pokemon games? How are you supposed to level up your own Pokemon? Can you fight trainers over and over again? What the fuck? So, yeah, for that reason, I don't count as a reboot of Pokemon Yellow. So I'm still waiting for a true reboot. I'm being able to have Pikachu as your starter. You catch all three of the original starters, walk around, battle Team Rocket, battle Jesse and James with Team Rocket. A true remaster of Pokemon Yellow with the graphics of Pokemon Let's Go. I think that would be a huge seller, and I would play the hell out of that. So Nintendo, don't, I might play Pokemon Let's Go when I forget a Switch, but come on, give me a true remaster of Pokemon Yellow. That's what we all want to see. Let's be real. Okay, get it done. All right, guys. So with that being said, that is going to wrap up our show for tonight. This was a lot of fun. I want to thank all of you for watching. And Colton, thank you very much for being here.
I was happy to be here, man. I think finding out that Mike knows about Blazing Heroes was the highlight for me.
All right, Jack, it was a pleasure having you here as well.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Brings back some childhood memories.
Yes. And Mike, thank you very much for being here. I apologize again if I made you feel old during this.
No. I think I remember that title, but I never really watched the show. I was too busy watching Mask.
Okay.
Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future.
That is what it's called, yes. And that was my honorable mention from last week. Bring back the television show. I think that would be pretty fun.
Cool.
All right, guys. So we will see you next week, hopefully. Well, we'll see you next time. I don't know if it'll be next week, but we will see you next time. Until then, have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.